so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy. No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRNradio.
Remember when entertainment was actually entertaining? When comedy was about being funny, movies were about telling great stories, and you didn't need a political lecture every time you hit play. Great entertainment still exists, it's just getting harder to find. Even the biggest streaming platforms leave audiences disappointed. That's why there's Studio TST, pure entertainment, real comedy, independent films, bold creators, movies, comedy, music, and more, and the home of fearless sketch comedy. That show tonight, entertainment the way you want it. Funny, creative, unapologetic, and agenda-free. Studio TST, the future of entertainment starts here. Join Studio TST today for just $5 a month.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
One moment, please. I know I forgot to do something. Weird thing is, I know I loaded that. That's weird. I remember specifically changing that out, and I don't know why I didn't take.
It's okay. We could just start if you want to.
Nah, it'll make it easier for the editing in a second. Hang on.
Okay.
I'm trying to teach my assistant how to do all this stuff, so it makes it easy if I give him a marker. But I know I loaded that thing. That's weird. All right, officially starting now.
And welcome, everyone, to another episode of He Said, She Said. I am one of your hosts for the evening, Aggie, and with me is the very awesome Rowdy Rick. How are you doing tonight?
Yes, present. Hi, how are you? I'm okay. I'm good. I think. I don't know. Like I said, this is my 4th show today. I'm starting to feel like I work in Vegas.
Yeah, you kind of do.
4 shows nightly. Holy crap. Yeah, I've been doing podcast in one form or another since like 8 o'clock this morning. So, yeah, fun times.
Oh, man. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do
I
it.
don't know how I do it either. Probably partial insanity.
I listened to part of your podcast this morning, and then I unfortunately got busy. And then I've as you know, I've been dealing with contractors in the house, and most of that work is now thankfully done. There's just some tweaks that I have to do, some cleanup, some, painting of little corners or whatever that I feel have been missed. But one of the things that I neglected to do was to add to the contractor to do. There's a small cabinet that hangs over the commode in the toilet area, in the toilet room, because it is closed off. And now I have to paint it because I just don't like it with the wall color. So yes, Aggie made some more chores for herself in this bathroom renovation. But other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how's the play? Oh well, such is life.
Oh, leave
Live
it
and
to you
learn.
to give yourself more work.
I
Just
know,
saying. Leave it
but
to you to
I've
give yourself
gotten so
more work.
many things done. I've got because having contractors in the house incentivized me to actually keep working on something, and I completely redid my utility room. I completely redid all of my kitchen cabinets. I took everything out, cleaned it all out, and then reorganized it to where it was more functional. I got rid of a lot of junk. I redid like 4 pieces of furniture, and I'm ready to actually work on the last room in the house that I have put off for about 5 years. So yeah, I'm gearing up. Hopefully
It's gonna be
by
one of the last times I probably get to work that bit in, so I figured I'd go for it one last time.
yes. So, yeah, it has been interesting. It has been interesting. But, whatever. I'm done. I'm calm. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm
No,
okay.
it is my experience when a woman says things like "I'm okay" and "it's fine," neither is true.
Okay. Maybe.
Just saying. Just saying.
I don't know. So, what about you? How's your week been going?
Busy, and I'm still nowhere near where I want to be, but I have all kinds of cool things happening. Like I actually have climate control in my office, and I don't have to complain about it being 104 degrees outside. And I'm officially a product tester now. I have a brand new shiny adjustable bed coming next week, and I get to tell everybody how awesome it is. And they basically handed it to me for shipping and assembly. So, yay. Because they were like, we'll just ship, as long as you'll pay for the shipping, we'll just send it to you since you're going to talk about it. I'm like, I don't want to put it together. They're like, that will be extra. I'm like, I don't care. Basically giving me like a $3,000 bed. So I'm good with that. So, yeah, anyway.
Dang.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I'm working on these connections for everybody else too. There's all kinds of connections I've made in the last 7-8 months that I haven't really said anything about because I wanted to make sure they were going to start coming to fruition first. Because I always get excited and tell everybody, and then nothing ever happens with them. So yeah, this time I waited till things actually started happening. So yay, yay. Anyway, yeah, one thing did fall through. I almost got talked into doing local radio again. And yet again, the guy who was trying to get me on got canned before he could make it happen. I swear to God, I'm like the unluckiest person on the either the unluckiest or luckiest person on the planet when it comes to that stuff. I can't decide which one it is. It's weird. That's the second time in 5 years that's almost been a thing. And the person who was trying to help me do it got canned before they could make it happen.
Dang. That's too bad. But hey,
It's all good.
That's kind of nice that you're getting a bed though.
Dude, it's one of those really nice ones. It's like adjustable, and it's got all the bells and whistles, and it's got massage and heat and cooling. And I'm just like, I'm gonna be an actual adult. Yay!
Well, my sister has one that you can lift the back and lift up the legs or something. And so she sleeps like a taco every night. And it cracks me up because she's like, okay, time to be a taco. That's how she tells us she's going to bed so that we don't keep texting or whatever in the group chat.
Oh, nice.
But it's funny because she sleeps with the reclined part and the legs up. And that's for her, she's comfortable in that position. It's kind of reminiscent of a fetal position, but you're on your back instead of on your side.
Well, it's
So
also, I mean, honestly, I don't know how what her age is like, but sleeping like that probably helps with her circulation on her legs too. So, because
Yeah, I think it does help.
that's one of the things my doctor's been yelling at me about is like, you need to start finding a way to elevate your legs when you sleep because you don't walk enough anymore. Shut up. Anyway, wait, we have a Hobbit sighting in the chat.
Oh.
Or I'm sorry, she's not the Hobbit. She's the Munchkin. That's right. That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, I prefer Munchkin. It's cute. Besides, I was the voice of Munchkins in the production for my high school play of Wizard of Oz. I was one of
Oh, I
the
know. 'cause
voices, so
I remember we did a he said she said around her birthday one year, and I got you to do that as the closest thing you
follow
would
the
do to
yellow
a
brick
roast.
road. Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway.
fun times.
Yeah.
Fun
So
times.
I guess I know we tend y'all okay. I gotta calm down. I gotta be more articulate when I'm on the podcast. But normally we do, believe it or not, and this is to the audience, we actually come prepared with a topic every evening that we do this show, and we deviate off the rails within the first 5 minutes. I mean, there have been times when we don't even stick to the topic at hand.
I mean, there's a reason I do a show with that in the title. Just throwing that out there.
Yes, off the rails. Yes, that's true. But tonight's topic is a very interesting one because of late it has really been getting on my nerves, and something set me off. And so we decided to talk about merchandising fails and lies that we bought into due to merchandise, and that should tell you how effective the merchandising is for that particular thing that the entire world sometimes buys into it. And then later on it's debunked. And there's quite a few of them. And most people will tell you, "Oh no, that can't be true. No, they cannot be lies. I was told that this was good for me, blah 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 blah, and all that stuff." And then you find out later, well, no, not really. But this all started, believe it or not, by a post of a young woman who was criticizing lab created diamonds. That's how it started. This young woman was talking about how it seemed a less authentic way to ask your beloved for her hand in marriage, to use a lab created diamond instead of an actual, and she called them organic or conventional diamond instead, because the conventional diamond had been around for millions of years. It took that long to actually for the carbon to actually coalesce to the point and pressurized into becoming a diamond. So it has been around for a very long time, which gives credence to the marriage lasting for a long time. So that's what you want to echo when you give her this ring, right? And I started thinking about it. I was like, diamonds aren't that great. I am one of the few women who actually do not like diamonds. I think they're, don't get me wrong, I think they're a nice stone in the appropriate context or size. They look very lovely and everything. It's just not my thing. It has never been my thing. My husband, however, insisted that I have a diamond when he asked me to marry him. And um, so I have that. And then for my 25th anniversary, he gave me an eternity band of little diamonds, tiny little ones. So they're not big. But those were lab created. And I was very okay with that. And he knew that for me that was an okay thing, that it was not going to bother me. But we as a society have actually bought into the lie that an engagement ring has to be a diamond. And it didn't used to be that way. As a matter of fact, the most preferred stone for engagement rings back in the 19th century and early 20th century was a garnet. And my grandmother's garnet ring, which she ended up having to hawk because after her divorce, she needed money and all that stuff, blah, 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 was a garnet ring. Um, and so for me, this whole the whole idea that the engagement ring has to be a diamond has always been, I always wondered where it started. It didn't take long for me to find out where it started. De Beers had possibly has had one of the best campaigns, marketing campaigns of any company I've ever seen. And no one but Ron White could actually bring it to light better than he did. And I don't know if you remember that shtick that he had with the whole, diamonds leave her speechless and then takes her breath away. And then he said, pretty soon that'll shut her up. And it was true. A diamond actually does shut up the woman because she's like, ooh, a diamond, a diamond. And I'm like, I I never really understood that. But the fact of the matter remains that the diamond industry is actually controlled, 90% of it is controlled by one cartel, the De Beers cartel. And that is one of the reasons why the price of diamonds is, it doesn't fluctuate as it should. You see the fluctuation with emeralds, you see a fluctuation with rubies and sapphires, which by the way, rubies and sapphires, same stone. It's just the red ones are called rubies, the rest are called sapphires. And sapphires come in a myriad of colors, including clear, which actually they look just like diamonds, not gonna lie. And this is coming from somebody who studied geology and studied gemstones and all that stuff. So that's also a really good substitute for a diamond, just putting it out there for everybody. But all of the others, what they call precious stones, tend to fluctuate. And when you think about it, emeralds are actually far more rare than diamonds are. And yet they're not as expensive as diamonds are. And that's because the control by the De Beers cartel. So um, for me, that has been possibly one of the greatest lies ever told, that sold the public on this myth that an engagement ring has to be a diamond, or otherwise it just doesn't count for much. Now, my daughter, when she got married, she didn't want a diamond either. She wanted a colorful stone. She researched all of these stones. She's just like me, and she chose one that was absolutely beautiful, and it was a semi-precious stone, but that's what she wanted, and that's what she wears as her engagement ring. My youngest daughter as well, she actually chose a star-cut topaz because she was born in Texas, and that's what she wanted for her engagement ring. So there are, you know, the whole, engagement ring thing has been completely overblown, and it is, the fact that they try to get you to spend 2 months wages on the price of your of the ring, that's the goal, that's the limit, that's the average you should spend. That's egregious because there are some people that, goodness knows, they make $1,200 a month or something like that. They're expected to spend $2,400 on an engagement ring. And but the woman who's receiving this ring has been told by the same company that she should expect a carat, or otherwise she's not as loved. And by the way, my ring is not a carat. It's 2/3 of a carat. I'm just gonna put that out there. So he only loves me 2/3 as much as he should. He's gonna be listening to this later on. That's why I put that in there.
Oh yeah, I kind of. Yeah.
But the woman, all of these ads actually give an expectation to the woman who's expected to be proposed to. And yet they tell the gentleman, hey, you should spend this amount of money. This is your minimum. This is your guideline, what you should spend on a rock for your girl. Those expectations are seldom the same. They never match up. Now, this young woman that was talking about the lab created versus conventional, she felt that conventionals actually expressed more love and deeper commitment because the conventionals had taken so long to be created. A lab created diamond is by no means cheap. It's just not as expensive because that is one thing that is not controlled by De Beers. So you have several companies that make lab created diamonds, and there's competition, which drives the price lower. A lab created diamond is exactly the same as a conventional diamond in its chemical composition. There is no difference. The only difference is a lab created diamond will not have the flaws. It will not have the little specks. It will not have the little feathers. It will not have the little cracks. It will not have those things that make a conventional diamond more unique. It still has the fire. It still has the beauty. And a lot of people were telling her that on that particular thread, and she was saying that she didn't mean for to sound like the lab created diamond was cheap and a cheap way of getting out of spending money. She just meant that for her the conventional one actually seems like it means more because it has been around longer. And I started thinking about that, and I said, I don't I don't think I understand what she was trying to say, but that led me down that whole path of how did we get here to where a diamond is the only acceptable stone to put in an engagement ring? And I'm glad to see that a lot of young people are actually starting to step away from that. And it started with the goths. I will say that it started with the goths because I saw I was at a jewelry store getting my watch repaired, and there was this really stunningly beautiful goth woman. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, she was like really hot, and but she was completely goth. And she was there with her equally goth boyfriend, and they were looking at engagement rings. And she turns to him and said, "I don't like it. I don't. It's not me." And the girl across across the thing, the display case, asked her, "Well, what colors do you like?" And she says, "I love reds. I love dark colors and all that stuff." And she's like, "You know, maybe you should look at garnets." And so she took her over to the semi-precious section, and she saw a ring that she liked. It was an oval garnet, and it was on a plain setting, but on either side, it had little trillions of white sapphires. And she said, "Okay, I like that, but I don't like the little white sapphires next to it." And the lady asked her, "How do you feel about spinels?" And she was like, "What are those?" I said, "They're black." She's like, "Perfect." So, I mean, she was like really into the whole goth situation when it came to her engagement ring. And I saw that, and this was a very young couple, and I was like, these people are smart. They're not adhering to that because it's not the purpose of an engagement ring is not that you're getting a diamond, it's that you're showing that you are now committed to future marriage with this other person that you accepted as your person, you know? So it doesn't have to be a diamond. And and like you and I discussed, you used to think that it was a Western thing. I've seen it in Japan. I've seen it in Pakistan. I've seen it in India. I've seen it, um, and and in Africa too. Believe it or not, which is kind of funny considering that the blood diamonds all mostly come from the southern part of Africa. But um, a lot of people have bought into that. Puerto Rico. I mean, my cousin was livid because she got half a carat, y'all. She got half a carrot, and she felt that he didn't love her enough for a full carrot. I'm not even joking about this. This is the kind of family I have. I was like, I slapped some sense into her. She's like, "You're lucky you got anything at all with that attitude." And if I were him, I told her this straight out. If I were him, I would take the ring and run because you're just being a bitch. But anyway, I digress. But that was for me, that has been one of the greatest lies in merchandising that has been perpetrated on the public. And it has actually affected people globally because a lot of people believe this. A lot of people believe that this is a thing. Did you know that in South America, a ring was not the accepted form of engagement? You accepted a bracelet. And the bracelet is usually was
Interesting.
made out of, yeah, it was usually a gold bracelet, it was usually something that had been handed down through generations, and it was a betrothal bracelet, and you wore this bracelet until the day you got married, and then you put it away. And then when your daughter was due to get married or your son was about to propose to his wife, you gave it to them as the proposal, as the item to use as a, it was a bracelet. Now, most people I know from South America have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm like, dude, I literally learned it from your history. I don't understand how you don't know it. But yeah, a betrothal bracelet was very popular in Spain, Colombia, Argentina, in all sorts of Latin countries. Um, I believe there were several countries that it was a betrothal necklace, not a ring. I think the ring became popular with Queen Victoria, though, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but it was around that time. So that was for me. I'm like, I'd rather go back to the whole betrothal bracelet. As a matter of fact, when my husband asked for my hand in marriage, I asked him, "Are you going to get me a bracelet?" And he was like, "What are you talking about?" Because yet, obviously, he didn't know. He's not Hispanic. But I told him the story, and he thought that that was so cool that we went to look for betrothal bracelets, but there was nothing being sold at the time that even came close to fitting the idea of a betrothal bracelet. Most of them were, bangles or charm bracelets or something like that. But most betrothal bracelets that I have seen um, in, you know, uh, photographs or whatever have been very intricate in gold detailing, and they would have stones. Most of the time they were semi-precious, not precious stones, because this was something you were going to wear every day. You wore it every day. So I do think that is, for me, that is the most egregious merchandising lie ever perpetrated on humanity.
I would just
But
like to point out,
I may
ladies
be
and gentlemen, I would just like to point out that she sold this to me as a fun night of talking about things like this and then go straight for the machete right out the gate.
I know, but that entire thread was just for me. It sent me over the edge, and I'm like, I have seen stuff on X that does not get me angry. I have seen things that make me sad. I have seen things that make me bitter and everything, but not angry towards the person posting it. I don't normally get upset over somebody posting their opinion or something. But when I read that, it just made me realize that we've been sold a bill of goods, people. Your engagement ring does not have to be a diamond. It doesn't even have to be a ring. Okay. It could be a necklace. It could be a bracelet. It could just be a promise. You don't even have to have the ring. Okay. You don't have to have the ring in order to accept the proposal of marriage and follow through. There is no law that says a ring must be presented. Also, there is no law that says that the guy has to do the proposing either. As a matter of fact, my youngest proposed to her fiance. She was on her knees and she had the box and she had the ring for him. And it was just a plain band. There was no stones or anything on it, but it was a plain, I think it was a James Avery silver band or something that he wears now in, you know, on his right hand. He doesn't wear it on his left hand, but he wears it on his right hand because he wants to save the wedding ring for his left and wants to wear them both, after he's married. But, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be the guy to the girl. And in case of same sex couples or anything like that, whatever, it doesn't matter who does the proposing, I suppose. But in a conventional, male female marriage, then you don't have, the man doesn't have to do the proposing. The girl can do it. It's fine. It's okay to rock the boat on tradition, especially when tradition was sold to you as a bill of goods. And with that, I will close my whole bitterness about diamonds.
Bitter party of one, your table's waiting.
I
Bitter
know,
party
and
of one.
it sounds like I'm really, but it just, for me, it's in this day and age when you have this new generation complaining about money problems, when everything is so expensive to them, when they cannot seem to understand how to even balance a checkbook sometimes, to actually encourage them to spend 2 months' salary on a ring, but then the girl is being told by the same company that anything under a carat is not worth anything. There's a problem. There's a disconnect. They're playing each person against each other because they cannot lose as long as you hold on to that being true. As long as you believe that it's got to be a diamond, as long as you believe that it has to be a carat, there's nobody. The Beers is not going to lose. The diamond company is not going to lose. Zales is not going to lose. Case is not going to lose. All of these other people are not going to lose. So that's why I'm telling you, don't do it. Get a colorful stone. Make it pretty. Make it yours. Make it vibrant.
Or just don't do it at all, because I'm on strike 2 and there will probably not be a strike 3.
Well, I have a friend who recently went through a breakup, and she was like, I'm actually kind of glad, and I was like, why? And she said, I just didn't want another ring. I was like, are you serious? That's why you're okay with the breakup? I mean, they had only been dating for about, hell, hold on, 6 7 months or something like that, but he had gotten really it was serious. um they were, and there was no question of moving from city to city because they live in the same town. They live, actually, they don't live far from me. They live in DFW area, but they were getting serious, and then they started talking about logistics and all that stuff, and it just she they just decided to call it off. And in her, in her view, the biggest relief came from not having to deal with buying a ring. That is that's not healthy. That should tell you a lot about the whole situation with the diamond ring industry. It
See,
should
that's
not
just that's
be
just
like
it.
that.
It's not just diamond rings. The
No.
thing that everybody needs to understand right now is advertising is nothing but propaganda. It's also deemed as harmless propaganda until you really stop and think about it for a second. Because you know why Americans have specific breakfast food when no one else in the world does? Do you know the story behind that?
No.
So much. So we were talking in the green room about the whole 8 8 ounce glasses of water a day thing, and how that's not really true, because they said there's a certain amount of water that you're supposed to get, but pretty much any liquid you take in counts. Most of your food has some water in it, but it turned into this whole, we got to have 8 8 ounce glasses of water a day. Well, even before that, because that started in the 40s, there was bacon and eggs are the proper American breakfast. So that started in the 20s. Beach Nut Packing Company hired Edward Bernays, who was actually a propaganda expert. Was also one of the pioneers of modern public relations to increase bacon sales. Bernays worked with a physician to survey other doctors about whether a heavier breakfast was preferable to a light one. The resulting endorsements for a hearty breakfast were then publicized, with bacon and eggs positioned as the obvious example. So, for those of you who think you picked bacon and eggs, no, they made that decision for you by convincing your grandparents it was a good idea 100 years ago. Just so you know.
Oh, that's interesting because, I lived in Germany for 3 years. Thank you, Army. And the concept of bacon is very foreign to the French. I mean, excuse me, the Germans. Um, I had no problem finding rashers over in France. because France has a proximity to Great Britain. So, and Great Britain is very famous for the rashers, which is how we eat thick bacon. Same thing. But the Germans, the concept of a breakfast that had bacon was kind of foreign to them. Sausage links, yes. And I don't mean the tiny little sausage links or the patties that we have here. I'm talking like twice the size of hot dogs. That's their sausage links. They were fine with that. But most of their breakfast was continental and, breads, a lot of breads, a lot of that kind of thing for breakfast. Um, their Amerikaners, the Berliner, whatever Danish they happened to get at the bakery, and that's what they would serve for breakfast the following morning. And it was a weird thing for me when my German friend would come and invite me for breakfast down there because I knew it was going to be coffee and a Danish, which was fine, which is great, but it was not what I was used to as a breakfast conceived in my head. It was sold to me here, and then I started thinking about it when you brought it up in the green room. I was like, that's kind of weird because we don't have that kind of breakfast in Puerto Rico either. And we're in American territory. But eggs, yeah, we ate eggs for breakfast over there because we had the chickens right there. Okay, so it just made sense to have eggs for breakfast, lunch, and dinner sometimes.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying everywhere, but a lot of other places on the planet, they just eat whatever they have available. They don't have like, bacon and eggs and all the other things that we consider breakfast foods. But this was all a marketing campaign because when steak became more plentiful, because what happened is when steak was something that was kind of a regional thing before the trains really took hold and everything else, then everybody was eating pork, and then suddenly steak was able to start being shipped, and they started doing the whole wagon trains and everything else to get beef pretty much anywhere you wanted it, and beef suddenly became very popular as a breakfast food. So then there was this whole push, kind of like, you remember back in the 50s when 9 out of 10 doctors prefer Camel cigarettes? Yeah, that one. Yeah, same thing with the pork. It was pork is better for breakfast. It goes better with eggs, this, that, and the other. Yeah. Yeah. There's another one that I'll go into real quick since you burned through like a half hour. Just teasing you, but still.
It wasn't half an hour. Well, go ahead.
Okay, 20 minutes. Anyway, so there's another one. So that whole, you must change your oil every 3,000 miles or your car is going to blow up.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really a thing either. So
Oh, thank you, God.
yeah, the 3,000 mile oil change rule was once a reasonable conservative recommendation, especially with older engines, older conventional oils, carbureted vehicles, looser manufacturing tolerances, and more contamination getting into the oil. But advances in both engine design and motor oil made that interval increasingly unnecessary for most newer cars. AAA now says most modern vehicles can typically go anywhere between 5,000 to 7,500 miles between oil changes. Especially if you're using some of the more synthetic oils, you can actually even go further. However, even though all of the places that do your oil changes now know this, they will still set when you do the oil change, they will still set you at 3,000 miles and put it on the sticker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, most manufacturers specifically say now, they specify anywhere between 7,500 to 10,000 mile intervals. So, yeah. Which I didn't know until I opened the owner's manual for my car, because I had never bought a new car before until 2021, which I am proud to announce I just paid off the other day. It's completely mine now. So, yeah. But yeah, they were like, yeah, this one can do oil changes about every 6,000 to 7,000 miles. I was like, you're kidding me. So yeah, I never drive anywhere anymore. So yeah, I'm still doing mine about every 6 months though, because it's like every 6 months or 7,000 miles, because I don't drive anymore. So now it's just like, if it's been sitting for 6 months, I'm going to go take it in to put the oil. Because I drive maybe 1,000 miles a month now because I work from home. So
Yeah. Well, unfortunately I drive a lot. I live in Texas. B, everybody in my family is spread out. There's thankfully nobody lives in El Paso anymore. But it's still, it's a 10-hour drive to my mom's. So I do have to take care of my vehicle because I don't understand why they did this. I do kind of understand why they did it, but I hate the fact that they did this. But you don't get a CD player in your new cars anymore because they expect you to have Bluetooth everything and your playlists on your phone so you can just download everything. And I'm like, I don't have that. I don't do that. Give me back my CD player. It was tough enough when you took away my cassette player. Okay.
Next, she's going to be whining about the 8-track.
Oh, do not get me started. I still have a track somewhere in the garage. But I'm just like I I'm hanging on to my 2012 and my 2015 by the by every by holy prayer because I don't want to upgrade to a new car. The new cars I'm like I don't like them. I just don't. They don't have what I need in my age. And this is something that I've noticed with technology. Everything needs an app now. And my mom doesn't have a telephone that handles apps. She has a flip phone. She prefers her flip phone, and that's all she wants. So she does not have apps for anything. And so something, she wants to buy an airline ticket. She actually calls a travel agent. The travel agent actually tells her, well, you can do this in the app. And she tells her, I don't have an app. And she's like, well, can you get on you can get online and you can do it on the online. And I'm like, you're a travel agent to help her buy the ticket. Why is it so hard for you? It was so weird having a travel agent actually tell my mom to use an app or use a computer to actually buy the ticket instead of doing it for her, which is her job. But my mom ended up having to get in her car and drive to the travel agency to book a flight to go to Puerto Rico because she doesn't have an app on the phone for that. She does, and it's kind of sad because we still have a lot of boomers, I suppose, and a lot of Gen X, me included, who don't like to download all of these apps. I don't have cash apps on my phone. I don't do the Apple Pay thing. I don't do the Google Pay thing. I don't do any of that. I try to limit the kind of
Okay,
applications that I have on
boomer.
my phone. I know I am. I was an old head born on young shoulders. I mean, I honestly, let's face it. I was talking to Lou today on Twitter. She was talking about buying a poodle skirt. I said, "Well, yeah, but you got to get a fuzzy sweater, and saddle shoes, and ribbons for your ponytail." And she was like, "Well, yeah." like, I'm like, and I fully expect her to do so. But it has gotten to the point where everything is in an app. I go up to McDonald's to buy a soda if I'm traveling, to go see his uncle, excuse me, his aunt. And yeah, will you be using your mobile app today? No. Would you like to download it? Absolutely not. I just want a freaking soda. Why is this so difficult? But I digress. Go on.
You digress? No, no way. I don't know what you're talking about. Nope.
I can't help it. I'm an old person.
All right, so you just started like Knives Out tonight. What's going on?
I'm cranky. I'm very cranky because I'm on a diet.
It's not Lent. Why are you on a diet? You already diet for Lent. What are you doing?
No. It's just I wasn't fitting right in my jeans. I'm okay now, but I was just you know how I decided to start cooking one of the pinned recipes each week.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that. All of these are not diet recipes, y'all. They require a lot of butter, a lot of heavy cream, and things of that nature, and it shows.
In other words, they taste good.
They are fantastic, but they have taken a toll on my hips. So I had to slim down for a little while, but I'm okay. I'm fine. Everything fits back. Fix again.
All right, so I'm gonna steer us into the other part of the topic that I wanted to talk about
Yeah,
tonight. So
yeah.
hopefully I can get you to not be stabby by the time you go back up the hill. Which is marketing fails. And this one actually upset me because this is actually when I was working for McDonald's, they launched this product and I actually really liked it. And I was sad when it went away. But the Arch Deluxe, because apparently they tried to make an adult burger and it lasted like a year. I really liked it though. It was good. I don't know.
I remember. I remember. I remember that. Yeah, that was actually pretty good. It was very popular. What how long ago was that?
That was mid 90s because that was around the same time they were doing all the because that was when all the Batman movies and stuff were out and
Right,
they had
right,
like
right, right.
they had the giant hero sandwich using the McRib bun, which even though it had the 2-ounce meat on it was
That's
still really good, and I missed that too.
yep. That's
Yeah.
right. I remember that because a friend of mine from high school was actually a manager for one of the McDonald's for the McDonald's in town. As he that's how he put himself to college. And I remember going up there when I was visiting my folks. I was in the drive-through, and he happened to be doing the drive-through that day, and so we stopped to chat and everything. And I said, I came through for that adult deluxe thing, and it was gone. He's like, we sell out by noon. And I'm like, you serious? Everybody loved it, and I don't understand why it went away.
It went away because even though everybody loved it, it was something that required extra stuff to do. So yeah, it's just like
I guess so.
yeah,
And it was
it's
I remember the
McDonald's went through a
salad in the cup,
streamline. Yeah. Yeah, the McSalad shakers, I
the
remember those.
McSalad shakers. Everybody, I remember that, and it was very popular when I lived in North Carolina because it was convenient for the everybody that worked at the hospital. They could because that was something they could just take through. It wasn't in a box or anything. It took little space in the communal refrigerator on the floor, surgical floor, wherever you were working. And it was a it was a quick lunch, and it was great. Then it went away. I'm like, why did it go away? It was perfect. We all loved it.
Nice. So this one, I'm glad I was only 1 year old because I didn't even know this was a thing. So I was researching heavily marketed products that failed miserably. 1974, Gerber Baby Food started pushing a product called Gerber Singles. It was adult foods that they sold, such as cream beef in little glass jars that looked a lot like their baby food packaging. The pitch included the general idea Gerber was good for you as a baby, so why not now?
Which I'm like, look, if I'm gonna eat baby food, I'm just gonna slam down some bananas with tapioca. That was my
Right?
favorite. That was my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. When I had babies, I would buy twice as many of the bananas with tapioca than anything else because I knew I was gonna be eating one of those jars. I loved it. It was for me that was the best dessert as a mom with children, you know. But then they changed the formula and now it's just bananas. There's no tapioca in it. But yeah, when I seem to recall them saying, the Gerber singles for adults, and I'm like, if an adult wants baby food, they'll just go to the baby food department. Trust me, I've seen it. I've done it. So I didn't get that one.
Yeah, like I said, I was barely even around at that point, so I'm kind of glad I missed that whole thing. Yeah. It's like,
Well, one
yeah.
of the things, going back to the whole breakfast thing, one of the things that we got sold on was orange juice as being part of a well-balanced breakfast because it had vitamin C. Now, I'm not saying
Well,
that
that's
citrus,
because they could. Well, that's because they convinced us that vitamin C killed every cold germ known to man.
yes, and that was, that was one of the main drivers. But as y'all know, there's only 2 states, well, 3, that actually have cosecha. What is the word in English? I I can never remember. But they grow citrus, okay? In the United States. oranges are a tropical fruit, and so you cannot grow them very well up in the north unless you have your own greenhouse and you keep the green warm all year round and blah 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 and all this stuff. And if there's, God forbid, a blight, it will deteriorate the citrus crop. That was it. That's the word, crop. 4 years before it can get back on track. That's what happened in the Rio Grande Valley in Texas. There's 4 counties in the Rio Grande Valley, of which most of them do have citrus grows. And there was a blight a few years ago that completely decimated, and I use the term correctly in this case, completely decimated the crops. And so it was a boon to Florida and it was a boon to California because those are the other 2 that grow citrus, right? Unfortunately for California, they were having some serious wildfires in the area, and some of their grows got scorched. But Florida did really well. But as a consequence, because there was so little citrus fruit to go around that was grown in the United States, the price went up. And then, so we opened up the markets to citrus from other countries, and there was some problem with that. And it was just an insane thing or whatever. But I was always told when I was growing up to drink Tang. Remember? Tang, because it was good enough for astronauts.
Yeah, astronauts ate it or drank it, so why shouldn't we?
Why shouldn't we? Yeah. And the thing was, even though, and this was the funniest thing, where I lived in Puerto Rico, everybody had orange trees. We had 5 orange trees in our yard. We had 5 orange trees, 2 lime trees, 2 lemon trees, 1 of Chironja, which is a grapefruit orange grafted that my mom did, and a grapefruit tree. And so we had citrus all over the place, but we drank Tang. I never understood that. There was a certain disconnect there. I mean, we ate the fruit too, but in the morning it had to be Tang because Tang had more vitamin C than a regular glass of orange juice. And so my mom said, vitamin C is good for you. It helps keep you healthy. I'm not discounting that vitamin C does this. I'm just saying that it became part of that whole ingrained breakfast thing, and now you can't catch me drinking orange juice in the morning unless there's champagne in it and it's Sunday. I know that sounds bad, but it's just that I prefer my coffee. I get my vitamin C later on in the day because studies showed that vitamin C gets absorbed better in the afternoon, or for some reason, I don't know, with certain foods than it does in the morning. So I will have a glass of orange juice during the afternoon, or I'll have my multivitamin, or I'll literally eat some oranges or whatever. But I no longer subscribe to the whole it has to be in the morning,
Yeah, no. Oh, so speaking of morning drinks, we remember this one, 1989 Pepsi AM. It was actually kind of the
until you had brought it up, I had blanked that out of my cortex.
Well, the funny thing is, it was actually kind of a precursor to an energy drink. It had 26% more caffeine than regular Pepsi. So Pepsi was like, well, since everybody likes to drink coffee in the morning, why don't we give them an option to try to drink one of our sodas that has more caffeine in it? And everybody's like, but if we already drink your soda in the morning instead of coffee, why wouldn't we just drink another soda?
And here's the thing. I know that you remember Jolt Cola, right?
Oh, yes.
Jolt Cola was very popular when I was in college. I mean, and I went to college 85 through 89, so mid to late 80s. And honest to God, I was the only girl in my dorm that did not drink Jolt Cola. It's not because I didn't want to. It's because I tried it and I had the jitters that were so bad. I did not sleep for 2 days after drinking one soda.
You had jitters from a whole melatonin, so I don't even know why you thought Jolt was a good idea.
But I mean, seriously, it was that bad. Then after that, I just said, I'll just stick to my hot tea, which is what I did in the morning. Just one cup of hot tea, and that was it for me for the day. But believe me, that has changed. I like my caffeine a lot more now. But Jolt Cola kept the entirety of the university system running. And I believe it went away like late 88 or something like that. Somewhere about there, it went away. And I mean, people were like so upset. So then there was a run on No Dose. Remember No Dose?
Oh yeah, I used to live on those things.
Yes. So because there was no longer Jolt Cola, the kids were now running to Skaggs Alpha Beta or Albertsons or whatever you want to call it, and raiding the no dose section. And they could not keep that stuff in stock to the point
And then
where
in
the Quack Shack, which is the university hospital on campus, actually had to put out a statement saying, guys, stop taking so much no dose.
well, yeah, but then as soon as the universities, because it wasn't just your university that did that. So as soon as as soon as everybody's university said, "Hey, stop taking notos," that's when they started marketing products like Stacker Threes. Anybody remember those?
I don't.
Yeah,
What?
Stacker Threes were like notos on steroids.
Oh my word.
Those were late 90s. Notos typically had one pill was about equal to a cup of coffee. Stacker Threes, the reason they had the 3 in it was it's basically 3 times the caffeine of a Notos. Yeah, so those were as close as you could get to. Remember when we found out that like there were like military that would get stimulants when they were out in the field so they could stay awake.
Yes.
Yeah, that was as close as you could legally get to that kind of stuff at the time, because that's when they took things like Jolt and Surge away. But the whole thing about Jolt and Surge is that's pretty much what led to the whole bit from Beavis and Butthead. I am Cornholio. I need TP for my bunghole. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that
Can
was
I
pretty
confess
much
something real quick?
what
I never watched Beavis and Butthead. No,
blasphemy.
no, I never did.
Blasphemy.
I never did. I'm sorry, not sorry. It came on at a weird time where I don't know. I don't know what was going. Maybe I was just too old for it by the time it aired. I have no idea, but I never watched it. I never got interested. And of course, everybody around me had that. We're always doing the you know, yes, all the little quips and quotes, and I'm like, I don't get it. Thank you, Janelle. I don't feel so bad now. Janelle has never seen it either.
Yeah, but Janelle is anyway.
Stop. Be nice.
I am being nice. I haven't called her Mrs. Eddington yet.
Oh my word. Y'all are gonna kill me. Although Eddington is cute. Anyway.
See, that's what she found out. Eddington was really cute in the 80s when he had hair, and she's like, "Oh my god."
Yes. I thought he was handsome without the hair. I
Yeah,
loved Ken
apparently she did
Marshall.
not.
Ken Marshall was cute. Oh, by the way, Janelle, if you have not seen the movie Feds, he's in it too. So check that one out. It was ridiculous. It had Rebecca De Mornay and what's her name? The sister to Michael Gross from Family Ties. I forget her name, but they were two women who were in the FBI. They were FBI cadets, and Rebecca De Mornay was a recent. She had just separated from the Marine Corps, and the other one was basically she had just graduated from Columbia. So one was really, really smart and one was very physical. And so they decided to help each other out doing, what their weaknesses and their strengths and all that stuff. And it was actually pretty cute. So Fred Thompson was in it, and
Dude, I
Ken
love
Marshall
Fred
was in it.
Thompson. I love Fred Thompson.
Yeah. So
All right. So since she's here, I have to do this. Here's to you, Mrs. Eddington. Michael loves you more than you will know. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, I feel better now.
anyway. So anyway, so one of the ones that really upsets me, I know this is petty, and I will admit I own one of these things, but it was gifted to me. by my mom. The Keurig situation, the whole Keurig, the whole Nespresso, the whole, the thing with the coffee pods. Okay. We were sold a bill of goods on this stuff. Okay. We had the Mr. Coffee. All right. We had the Bun coffee maker. We had the Breville coffee maker. We had all of these coffee makers. And then suddenly they come out with this single serve. And I'm like, okay, why is this a big deal? Oh, because, it's already pre-measured and you just put it in here and then you just click it in and you push a button and it brews 1 cup. And this is better how? This just means I have to keep doing this over and over because I drink more than 1 cup of coffee in the morning.
Dude, I'm having a banner day if I get through the morning with 1 pot of coffee. Just saying.
I don't, and then it came out that, the pods are rather expensive. So they made little containers that you can put your own coffee in and that you can reuse, because the actual guy who invented the Keurig came out and said, this has been the biggest mistake I ever made because of all the Keurig pods that are now dirtying up the planet. And I'm like, so why didn't you think of doing something that was like reusable or that would break down as you did the coffee? He didn't think of it that far. He didn't, or he, at least maybe he tried it and he figured out the plastic was better. I have no idea. But so now you have people saying, oh my goodness, Keurig is just going to kill the planet. And then you have other people, no, it has saved me because I have my own personal little coffee maker. Well, I have my own personal coffee maker. It makes 12 cups.
It's not like that's the whole thing, though. If you only want 1 or 2 cups of coffee, it's not like you can't adjust the amount of coffee and the amount of water that you put in the coffee pot.
Exactly. That was
But-
I just didn't understand the concept behind the Keurig. Now, my sister bought one to
Well,
have at my parents' house because my mom makes coffee that is so strong it will melt the spoon you put in it. So,
I need to try your mom's coffee.
dude, I kid you not. Whenever I go to my mom's and she makes coffee, she gets upset if I make coffee in a Keurig. So I take a cup and I put enough coffee to make maybe a little pool at the bottom of the cup and then fill the rest with milk. And that is a true cafe au lait, the way the French make it. That's how strong her coffee is. I'm not even joking. She fills up the little the where you put the filter.
Yeah.
It's up to the top with Puerto Rican coffee, which is very finely ground. It's used for espresso. And then she puts 4 cups of water. Not 4 12-ounce cups, 4 5-ounce cups, I think. and that's, I mean, and I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot of coffee. That's a lot of coffee for that. It's
Oh
very
yes, I
strong.
definitely someday I definitely need to try your mom's coffee because that sounds a lot like how I make coffee because I've
Well,
actually started grinding my own. So
if you so happen to come visit while she's here, believe me, she will love to treat you to a cup of her coffee. I've had espresso that was not as strong as my mother's coffee.
yeah, just if it's that strong, just don't be surprised if I spend the rest of the day running around yelling fire, 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 fire.
But it keeps my mom happy, so I'm like, whatever. But yeah, the whole Keurig thing, we were sold on it being more convenient, more this, more that, but it's actually it's a very high maintenance machine. It has to have, a certain type of filter. You have to use filtered water. You have to use these particular pods. You have to do this. You have to, and the Nespresso is even more so. I was not aware that the Nespresso was even more hoity-toity. You can only have the Nespresso coffee in that. They you have to buy the Nespresso one. The pods come from Nespresso too. Okay. So you can't just buy generic pods like you can with the Keurig. And yet, believe it or not, I have an espresso. It was a gift. I can't use it. I can't. There's no place for me to buy the pods here, and I don't want to keep buying them from Amazon because they're hellaciously expensive. So I just went back to my coffee maker, and I'm happy. But it's really funny when my mom comes to visit, and there's literally 3 coffee makers on the counter. Okay, so my mom has her own. I have my own, and then there's the Keurig that she gifted me, and I use that one in the afternoon if I feel like having half a cup of coffee or something like that. So that um, she gave it to me because my sister had bought the one for her house and she saw me using it, so she felt that I might want one too, and that's why I have it. And I will never give it up. Don't get me wrong, but it gets very little use because I want more coffee than that thing can give me at one sitting.
So I thought since we're coming to the end, I thought this would be a perfect time to bring up some of the more modern fails where propaganda has been used to push advertise not necessarily even advertising ideas, but just more campaign ideas that were supposed to make things better.
Mhm.
Like the fact that, to save the planet, we started putting paper straws in plastic wrappers. Excuse me.
What?
You've never seen those? The paper straws that melt in your cups, but they're in
Oh,
plastic
yeah,
wrappers.
in
Yeah.
plastic wrappers. I never
So
understood
so
that
we
part.
went from paper on the outside and a plastic straw that could actually be used for a while to a paper straw that melts in 5 minutes that is still wrapped in plastic. Not to mention the lid for the cup is usually plastic. The cup usually
Mhm.
contains at least some form of plastic. So here's something that I have been bringing up for forever that is kind of a marketing fail on our side because they have decided a long time ago that they were the ones trying to save the environment, even though they're wanting to use very outdated technology to do so and really stupid ideas. We should have jumped on board with things like, paper made out of hemp when they started complaining about cutting down trees because you get like 4 times more paper per acre with hemp than you do
Yeah.
trees.
Mhm.
Um, we could make bricks out of hemp. You can actually make plastic out of hemp that will biodegrade. It biodegrades slowly, but it does biodegrade, which means all of these islands of trash that all the hippies are always screaming about wouldn't exist because eventually it
Well,
just
they
break
wouldn't
down.
exist if we got off our asses and threw all that shit in a volcano. This is what I keep
But
telling everybody. The volcano is the ultimate recycler. It
um,
breaks everything down back to its original chemical composition. It's gone. It just goes back to the magma. Okay.
nature's incinerator.
Yes.
Now I suddenly have Joe versus the volcano in my head. So thank you for that.
I keep saying it's like the technology exists to get this done. Nobody wants to do it because, like, oh no, we're trying to save the volcanoes. From what? The volcanoes are what are gonna kill us. I don't understand why you're trying to save them. They don't need saving. Okay, it's just like the great white shark doesn't need saving. It's the most efficient machine out there in the ocean, just like the volcano is the most efficient machine out in geology. I don't understand people at all. They don't make any
Well,
sense to me.
I mean, how do we know the volcanoes aren't just hangry? They're not getting fed virgins anymore, so now they're pissed. Maybe if we start feeding them trash, they'll feel better. Who knows?
I
Um,
mean, seriously, I literally wrote an email to a friend of mine. Um, she works for uh, um, the geology department, the GS, and so she was talking about how they have to keep their eyes out on the ring of fire at all times and all blah 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 and all this stuff. She was giving a speech somewhere. And I sent her an email. I was like, you know what? If you want to be a hero, suggest this to people. Tell them to take all of this non-recyclable shit that we have lying here in Sweetwater because of all the broken down wind turbines cannot be recycled, and they're just dumping them in Sweetwater. And the people of Sweetwater are very pissed off about this because they were not told, and so it has become a health hazard now. I said, tell him to take all that shit and dump it into the nearest volcano. Done. You have recycled efficiently. And she was like, she writes back, mind blown. Holy crap. How did you think of this? I said, because I want to throw everything into a volcano. I want to throw people I don't like into volcanoes. I want to throw away my hosiery into a volcano. Everything goes into a volcano. She thought it was pretty funny. I don't think it's going to fly, but but I put it out there. I put it out there.
Yeah, Janelle's like, the only thing you really would need to worry about is the fumes, but I'm listening.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, but the fumes are bad to begin with. I mean, the volcanoes are always expelling all sorts of noxious gases. Wear a mask. Just don't have a beard when you wear a mask.
I mean, if it's good enough for COVID, just saying. Just saying.
Oh my goodness. We're so bad. I know. We're awful, but hey, that's okay. No, and that is the biggest, that's one of the biggest lies that we've been told. Recycling works. No, it does not, people.
Most
Recycling
of the
does
things
not
they
work
tell you
unless you recycle yourself in your
most of the
home.
things they tell you they're going to recycle, they don't recycle anyway.
No, this is the biggest lie. When I lived in Germany, there was in the town that I lived in, you had to take a road to go up to the military base. I actually lived on the economy. And so every time that I took this road, there was this big factory as you took the bend to go up the hill to go to the main gate. You could see the factory off in the distance. And I always wondered what that was. So I asked my German girlfriend, what is that? And she said, oh, that's the recycler. That's where we recycle, everything that we recycle goes there. And I was like, wow. Do you think that they would let me like tour it? Because at the time I was a Girl Scout troop leader. So I wanted to take my Girl Scouts to see all these places so that they could understand about recycling and all that stuff. And she said, I'm sure that they would let you, just not on Thursdays or Fridays. And I was like, okay, not a big deal. So I just let it drop. And then I brought it up later. In Germany, you have 4 containers, okay, for your refuse. You have your black container, which is your bathroom trash, nail polishes, batteries, etc. You have your blue, which is your newspapers, your books, your papers, whatever paper, anything that has no grease on it. You have your green, which is bio, which is all your leftover food. There are no garbage disposals there. So all your leftover food goes in there. And then you have your gold bag. Your gold bag has your cans, it has your paper plates that have grease on them, and it has your glossy magazines, that kind of stuff. Glass bottles have to actually be taken to a different dumpster that has green bottle section, white bottle section, and brown bottle section. And the brown bottle section goes every other color but green or white. So now that we've had that discussion, we go back to the recycling. So we recycle all of this stuff. So I go up to my German friend's house and I ask her, hey, how do I go about calling them to arrange this? And she said, I'll call for you. And then I asked her, so why can't I go on Thursday or Friday? And she says, oh, that's when they burn everything that doesn't get recycled. And I was like, wait, but that's just for recycling. Like it wasn't the bio stuff and it wasn't the black stuff. It was the paper and the cans and the, and those things. And she said, yeah, but if they get behind on Wednesday, everything gets burned. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. So you're telling me that the paper that was supposed to get recycled, if they're not caught up on Wednesday, it just gets burned Friday. It's Thursday and Friday. She's like, yeah. I said, so what's the point of recycling? And she had absolutely no answer for me. None. And that's when I noticed, I said, this is the biggest rook on the planet. And it's the same thing over in California, because California demands that you recycle all of these things, but they are so behind that they're burning some of that stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all nuts. It's all crazy. And I mean, that's the whole thing with advertising in the first place. They're convincing people that things are awesome that aren't. Like, look, like we've talked about this before with the whole propaganda campaign between Showbiz Pizza and Chuck E. Cheese. Showbiz Pizza was miles above Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes, it
But
was.
Chuck E. Cheese had better marketing. Betamax was awesome. VHS won because it had better marketing. VHS sucks compared to Betamax.
Oh no, I still have um I have my dad's Betamax and several cassette tapes, and the quality is perfect. I mean, it's still that good. And this is, I think the thing was Sony had the market on VHS, if I recall correctly, right? Was it Sony? I think it was
Yeah,
Sony.
I'm pretty sure it was Sony.
And so their campaign was like huge. The better quality was Betamax, but they just didn't have the money to compete.
Yeah.
M.
He's
Porn
probably
picked
not wrong.
VHS. That's why it's one. It's probably true.
He's probably not wrong.
I don't know which one was which, but unfortunately Betamax lost that, and it was tragic because it was a far better quality. But I remember that my dad had Betamax, and he had a couple of blank cassette tapes for us to record MTV on, because sometimes the world premiere of certain videos was after we would go, it was our bedtime. So dad would set it up to record so we could watch it the following day, and and everything. I mean, my dad was he was so sweet to do that. In retrospect, I'm like, why did you even bother doing that? And it wasn't me asking, it was my sister. But he was sweet. Anyway, do you have any others?
Let's see. I think there was at least one more. Hang on.
I mean, there were some solid fails in the soda department, like Crystal Pepsi, New
Oh yeah.
Coke.
So another really silly one that apparently like really took off, but was like one of the most retarded things ever. Anybody remember the Pet Rock? That was like such a
Yes.
fad for like 2 or 3 years, and everybody was like, and then the one before that was Seahorses, back when everything was mail order and you could get there was things you
Oh
could
yeah,
order from in the back of magazines and comic books, and everybody's like they show you these pictures of these tiny little and it's basically just dried freaking shrimp.
It's the little sea monkeys.
Yep.
And we were so excited. Oh my god, because it was the back of a comic book. You can send away for the sea monkeys. And I'm like, oh my god, sea monkeys, this would be so cool. And my dad said, okay, we'll send for them. Just to shut us up, okay? So he sent off for those stupid sea monkeys. I think I was like 11, maybe a year into living here. And puts them in, he follows the instructions and everything. And I'm waiting for actual sea monkeys because the sketch was of a sea monkey. Remember that? It was
Yeah, I
a
remember.
monkey with a little tail or whatever in the sea. That's what we were expecting, and that's not what we got. And my dad was like, I hope you learned your lesson. And after that, he never wanted to order anything again. Because he didn't use his money. He used money that we saved up. But because he was the adult, he could order it. And he was like, are you sure? And everything. And we said yes. And so, yeah, that's how it happened.
So here's another one. Well, here's two more that I didn't know were a thing. So first of all, I had no idea there was something at one point called Harley Davidson perfume. I didn't know that was a thing.
Harley Davidson perfume. Yes, I remember that.
And then this is probably one of these two are probably my favorites. First is Bic disposable underwear. Yes, I said Bic, like the lighter company. So yeah,
Wait, what?
yeah.
Disposable underwear?
Yep, Bic put out a product called disposable underwear. And then the other one that was absolutely just amazing, just because of the name recognition, was when Colgate tried to get in the TV dinner business. You know, the toothpaste company. Yeah, apparently at one point they were trying to put out frozen dinners.
Wait. I mean, I know Colgate Palmolive has a lot of brands under their collective umbrella, but this was
Yeah, this was
Colgate.
before all that though. Yeah, this was Colgate branded frozen dinners. So to get into the first one, Bic really did try to extend its whole disposable brand logic into women's hosiery and underwear. The best documented version was disposable pantyhose, and the product is often cited in marketing textbooks and brand extension discussions as a classic failure. So not only did they make disposable pins, they made disposable lighters, disposable razors, and therefore they started trying to make disposable women's wear, and that's where the brand logic completely fell apart.
What? I don't what?
Yeah.
What?
Right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I don't
And then, but yeah, I mean, this whole thing is just it came about. It happened. It lasted about as long as the adult baby food thing, and then it was just gone because nobody was buying the product.
I got nothing. I just I got nothing.
So the Colgate frozen dinner thing actually has a bit of a deeper backstory, and it kind of actually gets to have a little bit of an asterisk because the most famous one of all was Colgate frozen lasagna. The commonly told version says that Colgate tried to sell frozen dinners under the Colgate name and often specifically a brand of their own beef lasagna, and apparently it was a disastrous brand extension. The Museum of Failure currently says Colgate entered the ready meal market in the 1960s with a line called Colgate Kitchen, including chicken and crab entrees. But the museum also explicitly says it displayed packaging the display packaging is a reconstruction made with artistic freedom, not an original package. So yeah, Colgate frozen lasagna. I can't imagine anybody that was looking at that wouldn't be like, I don't know if I want lasagna that's going to taste like toothpaste, because you know that had to run through somebody's head.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's just one of the kind of like, because not even Crystal Pepsi. You remember? So it wasn't just that. There was like this whole clear line of things in the late 80s and 90s. So Kool-Aid got into it. They had this blue raspberry that was clear. And everybody that I knew that drank that, their brains got confused. Because they didn't their brain didn't know how to process it because it was a clear liquid, but it didn't taste like it should be a clear liquid. So I can just imagine your brain associating minty clean toothpaste and a beef dinner.
I can't. I would be very hard.
That would have broke something. I'm telling you right now, that would have just broke something.
Yeah. It would have broken me.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that there have been going back to the whole perfume thing because you brought up Harley Davidson perfume. There have been a lot of brands that have put out perfumes for women, because women are the bigger buyers of cologne, whether it be for their male counterpart or for their spouse or for their companion, their partner, whatever, or for themselves. It's usually women who buy the stuff. I mean, if you go to any department store, the women's perfume counter there's usually women hovering around it. There's always somebody. You go to the men's department and the cologne department, it's almost devoid of people. Then you'll see a woman come up and says, I need to buy something for a guy, and then she'll buy it. So, but the one that blew my mind, I mean, and I can understand brands like Harley Davidson, Stetson. Stetson had, I believe they still have a women's perfume, that kind of thing. But the one that blew my mind was the Bridges of Madison County had a perfume. Please explain that to me. That was a fucking book and a movie. It's not a brand, but they had a perfume. And it was incredible. I mean, I remember walking into, I think it was Walgreens or something, and there was a display, and I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. I cannot. This is like McDonald's having a perfume. I don't get it. I just did not get it. And on that note, I guess we should wind up.
Yeah, I guess we are pretty much out of time. I keep forgetting about the Chronicles of Snuffleupagus or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the Curse of Stephanos is coming up next. For those of you into the whole D&D realm. So, Rick, where can we find you?
Don't look for me at the trap. I'll actually be off for the next couple of days because I'm gonna finally, hopefully, get around to putting a lot of my new studio equipment together. Before the other stuff arrives that I have to deal with. So I probably won't be around until Monday afternoon again because it was already my off Saturday anyway. So yeah, don't look for me. It's a trap. You can find me on X though at RowdyRick73, and I also occasionally contribute in places like Twitchy.com, MisfitsPolitics.com, LoftusParty.com, and I do produce the Loftus Party podcast, which usually posts on Tuesday, either on the LoftusParty.com or anywhere you like to get your awesome podcast grooves on. How about you, Aggie? Where can folks find you?
You can find me at Aggie the Barkeep over on X, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Tuesday nights doing the Cocktail Lounge with the ever suave Brad Slager, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Friday nights doing He Said, She Said with you. I don't know which Wednesday of the month now. I think it's going to be the last Wednesday of the month from now on. But
I don't know what we're doing with that one because one of the anchors just said bye for a while, so I'm still not.
So Toxic Masculinity is still up in the air, but sometimes we do it at 8 o'clock on some Wednesday, so watch for that. And Jeff and I do Spirited Books on the first Monday of every month at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So tune in for that. Next month it's going to be a doozy. So thanks for joining us, everybody, and we hope you have a lovely evening.
You found something worse than chupacabra porn, didn't you?
No, there was nothing worse.
Oh, I bet you if you look, there probably is. Hang out. Curse of Stephanaro is coming up next right here live on KLRN Radio, produced by Listening Post Studios. Bye, everybody.